welcome to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 5, Episode 19.
Or Episode 113 if you're counting.
And tonight's music selection has been brought to you by DJ Downstairs Neighbor, whom you're going to hear any moment now because he is blaring through the floorboards this evening. Cannot be helped.
I'm just going to solve this right now.
I
wish it was that easy.
Guy cannot be stopped. But how are you guys doing this evening? I hope you're all well. Thank you as always to our Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl who make this episode and many other episodes like this happen. In fact, I'm about to finish, probably tonight after the show, my request review of Perfect Blue. I'm very excited.
Yes.
Very excited about it. It's a movie I'm very passionate about, and so I'm glad that somebody requested it.
The thing is, you bring up Patreon, and Patreon, you do the request reviews now.
Yeah.
You've opened them up, but sometimes it's interesting things from the past, like this turd.
Two tattooed teenage dumbasses.
Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
So this is the one that's going to be coming after Perfect Blue. Did you realize there were 40 episodes?
40 whole episodes!
How did it get for... You know, what's funny? I just want to read the back of the box because there are 2 grammatical errors on the back of the box.
Clues in the errors.
Let's see. Selected by the kind alien Nimbar and given tattoos based on their constellation. This team of superhero teens, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Packed with menacing monsters and super samurai showdowns, this 4-DVD collection morphs into an super strength dose that is not grammatically correct of alien action and adventure. Also, the irony is I accidentally acquired 2 copies of the stupid box! That's like 40 episodes twice! That's 80 episodes! Nobody needs 80 episodes.
There might be a giveaway later.
I don't know about tonight.
Not tonight. I don't want to get your hopes up.
Eventually, I'm giving away one of those boxes. I don't know who wants it.
You don't need 2 copies of that.
Nobody's gonna want it. I don't want it. Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on this week?
That's a large hunk of what's going on. This has been my first week.
Yes.
Essentially working for myself and doing video-related stuff. Yay! And it's hard, but it's worthwhile, to...
That's the important part.
To do what I want to do.
It's scary to do what you want to do because it's a gamble, but you do it long enough and you do it right, hopefully there's a payout.
I hope so, and I hope you guys are satisfied with what I've been producing. I'm not necessarily satisfied yet. I always want to try and get us to do better. Hopefully this show will also continue to improve as time goes on, so...
that is the hope, anyway.
We're definitely not done evolving, and thanks to you guys, we can continue to evolve, so thank you guys very much for continuing to make this happen.
So we really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Aside from, this being your first week working from home, we also got to have Halloween this weekend.
Yeah. It was rainy for us.
We had a rainy Halloween. Like, we wanted to go out Saturday night. Some of you might have seen on Twitter our makeshift costumes. Yours look better than mine. Well, I gotta say.
It was just pure luck, because it was all stuff I just had lying around, because I was Kung Fury from the movie Kung Fury.
And I was the Punisher from the Punisher comics
but
movie,
Kung Fury is like a pair of jeans, a red shirt, the red Converse All-Star high tops that I already have. I have, the knuckle gloves and didn't quite have the length of red headband that I wanted, but it was close enough. And the black leather jacket.
Yeah.
Just all random. Oh my god, pull it all out from all over the place in all these different corners of the house, and then it worked, but had to wait until the rain had kind of subsided enough to walk down to the corner of the street and then stare at everybody else walking around in their costumes, which was actually really entertaining.
Yeah, because, normally when we look at costumes here in town, you see your average stuff, parents taking their kids around, but since we've moved over to this area, we're not too far from different club strips here in town, and so we saw a lot of people heading to clubs for Halloween night, and some of the costumes are pretty dang good.
Some of them for sure were cosplayers.
Some of them had to be cosplayers. Specifically, I saw Sailor Jupiter and Sailor Mars walking down the street. That's like, no, those are too good to just be random fans of the series. No.
Yeah.
And then we saw, who were some of the ones we saw? We saw them. We saw a BoJack Horseman.
Which he was just wearing one of those stupid kind of Japanese-y horse head masks, but
I recognized he went out of his way to make sure he had the right blazer and shirt on. So, okay, good for you. You actually got that one.
Yeah, good going,
some Gravity Falls costumes. Oddly enough, I expected to see them, but I didn't see not one Attack on Titan cosplayer on Halloween night.
Interestingly enough, yeah.
Which says something when you think about how often we just see people around town just wearing Attack on Titan, like the coats.
Yeah, exactly.
And the little green frock things. I forget what you properly call them. But we see people wear them all the time.
Just to the grocery store.
Yeah, like, it's weird when you go into, our local grocery stores or Walmart, and it's like 2 a.m, and you see somebody there, and they've got their Survey Corps jacket on, and it's like, man, you don't need to be wearing that this late. Are you wearing that this late? That way you aren't judged? I understand that. I really do.
Yeah, but somebody's still gonna judge you anyway.
But nobody judges me!
Back to that old story.
Always coming back to that.
Well, I guess those are the major happenings with us.
Yes.
We went to Dallas and back over the weekend. That was fun.
That was cool.
We watched cartoons and then we came back.
We got to watch Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yes, we did.
Ash vs. Evil Dead.
And we'll only comment
free to watch right now.
Yeah, I was shocked and surprised that Starz went ahead and was like, no, you can watch it free and legally. That's cool. And I was like, well,
then, yeah, let's get down on
doing
that.
Better than what HBO or Disney XD is doing right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I won't say much about it other than this is what a TV series based on Evil Dead should be. So,
like, it was perfect.
Yeah.
For all 45 minutes of it, it was beautiful. You want more of it. I can't wait for the next episodes. Hopefully also being made free legally.
I hope so. So, I guess we should actually get into our show.
Yes.
The legits of the show.
So our first story for the evening, a lot of people know of the, over in Odaiba, which is a small little man-made island over in Japan, there is a life-sized RX-78 Gundam there. Mm-hmm. Well, there are plans underway to figure out just how to make that thing move more than it does currently.
Which, all it does currently is tilt its head and kinda...
Like, that's about its range of motion right there, and a little sound effects and, fog. But there's plans to make it move within a few years.
Yes.
And we're going to talk to you guys about what they're doing to make that happen.
Yes. After that, we talked about Halloween here. Japan, lately, has been celebrating Halloween more and more frequently, kind of borrowing it from America and doing their own stuff with it. And they got more rowdy than they themselves were expecting.
Yeah, they kind of lost their stuff.
Yeah. So, we're gonna talk about just how badly they lost their stuff and how society is handling it.
How their society is handling it, yes. And, of course, the big news this week, Star Trek is set to return to TV.
Kind of.
We need to preface that.
No, we're gonna specify that it's a kind of because, well, I don't want to tell you guys everything. Because that's part
There's
of the
kind of an
story.
addendum to that, but we'll talk about that once we get to it.
It's exciting and a little frustrating, but maybe more exciting than frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah. So, those are our major stories. We want to go ahead and move on into the follow-up segment.
Yes. Moving on to the
follow-ups.
Oh
my god.
What?
Just go.
All right, we're going. Okay, so... Oddly enough, a lot of the news up front is DC-related stuff.
Oh,
but
great.
Oddly enough, none of it, Not Quite Justice League tonight.
Huh, shocking.
We're free of Not Quite Justice League tonight.
Just
we get
for
one
evening.
Everybody gets one.
All right.
Everybody gets one. Okay, so talking about the Wonder Woman live-action movie that's set to debut after Not Quite Justice League comes out, it's rumored right now that Nicole Kidman is up for one of the lead roles in the movie. And this could be any number of things. It could be one of the different villainesses that show up in Wonder Woman comics. The strong idea right now is that she could be playing the Queen of Themyscira, basically Wonder Woman's mother.
I could see that. I legit could see it.
Because, they're not supposed to necessarily look like one another, because if you're going with the mythology, she molded Wonder Woman out of some sand.
Yeah.
And then that's how she was created. However, as I understand it, they're going with the more mythological aspects of her creation, so that might not even come into play. So we'll see that as it develops. Moving on to Gotham news, which I've been actually getting to catch up on this week. So in Gotham news, B.D. Wong has been cast on the show as Professor Hugo Strange. Hugo Strange being, of course, the proprietor of Arkham Asylum and one of the first people to figure out that Bruce Wayne is in fact Batman. Although if he were to figure that out now, he'd be ahead of the story by about 10 years.
Well, everything about Gotham is a little too ahead of the game.
Yeah!
So, but we don't need to get into that, because we complain about that all the time.
I'll say some of it's getting better, but there's still so much off.
Yeah.
To put that in context, but that's over in that section. Okay, so on the gaming side of things as it relates to Batman, so it turns out that WB Games is actually handing out full refunds to people who purchased Arkham Knight on PC.
Holy crap, like they were talking about, oh, we're gonna fix the game, we're totally gonna fix it, so this tells me they can't won't fix it?
Well, they said up until the end of the year, if you want a refund, you're totally inclined to it. It doesn't matter how long you've played the game, you can get a full refund. If you choose not to, then they will do everything they can to keep you updated and to fix the game as it stands.
That's a huge admittance of a hugely dropped ball. I am shocked that Warner Brothers had the balls enough to say
that we dropped the ball.
We screwed up, yeah.
But, at least good on them for being like, you know what, we can't charge you guys for this. I'm sorry. Like, let me give you your money back.
Yeah.
That's incredibly honest of them.
Good on them, but at the same time, like, dang, they screwed up bad then.
Yes.
Real bad.
And then jumping back to the movie end of things, the rumor now is that for the solo Batman project that they're going to adapt the Under the Red Hood animated movie into the live action. This has been a very strong rumor for a while now that they want to bring the anti-hero Red Hood into the live action fold.
Was Under the Red Hood ever a comic book storyline?
It was adapted from different parts of different comics.
Okay, yeah,
all
that's
things
what
considered. I thought. But yes, there's a strong possibility that that's going to be the direction that the movies go. But we don't know yet. That we're just saying that exists.
Rumor.
Yeah, that we're saying that rumor exists.
Okay, great.
Okay, so let's move on to the one little bit of Marvel news. So again, this weekend was Halloween. Apparently, Ryan Reynolds went out on the street in full Deadpool attire with a group of young X-Men costumers. And when I say young, I mean kids. And he's posted this video now, which you can go ahead and look up for yourself. Him there interacting with these kids, kind of them goading him on, him goading them on, them saying, oh, I wish we could have sewn your mouth shut, or didn't you used to be Green Lantern?
Oh, wow.
And him yelling back at them, but it's all done, of course, in character as Deadpool / Ryan Reynolds, since he's very meta in that sense. But this is just another piece of media being put out that shows, yeah, he was supposed to be Deadpool the whole time.
He should have been. We all know it.
Yes.
Everybody on Earth knows it.
I know it, you know it, the American people know it. Yes. Okay, so moving on to other movie news relating to Power Rangers.
All right.
We now have the 5th cast member there. Up at the top, Becky G, who's a singer-songwriter, rounds out the cast as Trini, the Yellow Ranger, meaning that all 5 of the Rangers have now been cast.
They're still using the old original Mighty Morphin namesakes for all these characters.
Yeah, so they're Trini, Kimberly, Jason, Zach, and Billy. They're all there.
At this point, to me, it looks like, I don't know about reboot, perhaps alternate universe?
Alternate universe is where I'm leaning towards now.
I'm thinking alternate universe, despite the fact that they're like, you remember when they first were announcing it, and they were like, this totally fits within the canon of the whole line of everything Saban's ever done with Power Rangers, and I'm like, that can't be. Saban doesn't care enough.
I know, I get that. But, that remains to be seen. Now that we've got these main characters, the Rangers cast, now we have to see what they're going to do about villains, and of course the design. The design is going to be very...
Well, we know Scorpina is supposed to be a thing.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
That's Scorpina is one of the main villains. Of course, there's mention of Rita Repulsa and Goldar as well, but we still need to see who they're casting in those roles.
Yeah.
And we will get back to you guys with that information as soon as we get it.
Of course.
Okay, so in another bit of interesting news, so the Lego Movie, of course, is getting its sequel coming up from Phil Lord and Chris Miller. There's a rumor now that actually, since just this week, the Lego Dimensions game had its second update where Doctor Who is now part of the game.
Yes.
They're saying they want to incorporate Doctor Who into the Lego Movie now. Which would make technically the second time he's been in a movie, but it would be the first time the 12th Doctor would be on the screen in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
And of course, in the game right now, that's Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman providing their voices to their characters.
Very, very busy people.
Yes, very busy people. But Clara will be, of course, leaving at the end of the season.
Woo!
In addition to that, Moffat has said she is deliberately gone and she will not be coming back.
You know, he says that, but do you actually believe, like, 100% you will never see Hyde nor Hera forever
I
again?
honestly don't know. Like, maybe we'll see her in a flashback or something like that, but it's interesting to watch how much of the fans actually do want her gone. And I know a lot of that has to do with the writing. I just want to see how they do it.
Yeah.
Just want to see how they do
Understood.
it. Okay, moving on to some Tokusatsu news. So, we've got a picture here. You'll see Kamen Rider Drive there with none other than Kamen Rider Excel. Kamen Rider Excel is confirmed to be showing up in the Kamen Rider Chaser Saga movie.
2 red cops.
Yes, both red cop riders who married the female protagonist in the series. Now, this is...
Cool or awkward?
I think cool,
Okay.
because stuff like this kind of a team-up is something you would see in, say, a stage show or something like that. You wouldn't actually get the chance to see this on the show, but they're legitimizing this. This is going to be a canon meetup, and of course, Teru Ryu's actor is going to be there. He's already looking exactly as he does in Kamen Rider Double, so very much looking forward to the Saga Chaser movie when it comes out next year.
Yes.
Yes. In Warcraft news, so we got a little sneak peek of what the trailer is going to look like. The trailer, of course, dropping tomorrow.
A teaser for the trailer, which is probably still just a teaser trailer.
Yeah, and I'm still not wowed by the footage.
Wow.
Now, okay, I actually wasn't trying to make that pun. I honestly wasn't.
Walked right into it.
I did walk right into it. I'm sorry.
Right into it,
I
sir.
failed you.
Oh, it's okay, I forgive you.
All right, great. But yes,
That
I'm
poster
looking-
came out.
the poster came
I wish
out.
I had that poster. I should have grabbed that poster.
yeah, it
Oh,
just looks there.
It looks like any other movie. It looks like the Face Off poster.
It does. It
Yeah.
really does. I'm just not getting the sense of scale that they seem to be touting. Like, oh, this is going to be massive fields of battle in this movie between the Horde and
The Alliance.
The Alliance.
That's a good point. Like, I can see why they would want to release the trailer tomorrow, because BlizzCon is coming up.
Yes.
So, yeah, it makes absolutely perfect sense.
Right. In other related news for BlizzCon, apparently for the game Overwatch, GameStop started listing prices for the game preemptively. Supposedly at BlizzCon they were going to announce what exactly they were going to do with it. Most of skeptics on the internet have been saying that the game was going to be PC release only, but now GameStop is listing it as being on PS4, PS3, Xbox One. So now it's kind of up in the air. Did they jump the gun? Are they just putting their heads up their butts, or do they not know what they're talking about?
GameStop frequently jumps the gun as far as pre-order sometimes it's not even accurate information. Sometimes, like, they know some information and they're just supposed to put it in the computer so that they can tell their customers, pre-order it, we don't even know when it's coming, but just please put down $5 so that we can have your $5.
I'll put down $5 for Overwatch. I've been following Overwatch since it was originally announced, and I'm very much looking forward to getting that.
I'm okay with it. It's just another big, colossal, first-person PvP shooter to me.
Yeah, but everybody looks so cool.
Everybody looks alright.
They look cool.
They're okay.
They're cool.
I don't dislike them.
Alright, that's good enough.
Alright.
Alright, and then moving on to our Force Awakens coverage. So we got these nice character posters here of some of the main characters. Of course, Han, Leia, Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren.
I love how Leia is the only one that, oh crap, she doesn't have a weapon. We have to put something in front of her face because we're putting something in front of everybody else's face. What does she do? Oh, well, she looks at a whole bunch of maps and detailed information. Oh, yeah, just put it over her face. Just put it over her face.
Put her in a laser show. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And yes, again, no Luke to be seen currently.
There's no Poe Dameron either.
There's no Poe Dameron. I'm a little upset over that. I wanted to see Poe Dameron.
I've been reading some material lately that tells me things about Poe Dameron and what I might be expecting from him in the movie, and I'm getting excited because I want to know if my hypotheses are correct.
Yes.
And I think they might be.
The other, there's only two other bits to go along with this. One, there's a Duracell commercial out right now that may or may not contain a major spoiler for the movie, of all things, in a Duracell commercial. I'm not going to say what the spoiler is, just if you see it, it's kind of obvious.
You should know, it's about kids playing with Star Wars toys.
Yes.
A brother and a sister.
Yes.
Playing with Star Wars
That
toys.
seems innocuous enough, but the manner in which they play may or may not lead to speculation of spoiler material. And then the last bit relating to The Force Awakens, so there's actually this nice, touching story of a fan who unfortunately was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year and was given only a few months to live. So his major concern was that he would not be able to live to see the release of The Force Awakens in December. And he and a bunch of other people reached out to, of course, people out there, the people at Lucasfilm, at Disney, asking if it would at all be possible for this man, Daniel, to see the movie. And just, I guess this was just from earlier today, there was confirmation that he was called by J.J. Abrams himself to say, you know what, yes, you can watch the movie. This is an uncut version of it, but you can watch it. And we totally understand where you're coming from.
It's not quite the completed theatrical
It's as
version.
close to complete as it's going to be right this second.
Yeah. Which is fantastic. It means that the movie Fanboys has been legitimized.
That's the weird thing about it, because that's the plot of Fanboys.
Except this guy didn't have to sneak in and break into Skywalker Ranch.
He just asked.
He just asked and got everybody's rallying support on the internet to make this happen. And it's a sad story, but it's a happy story, and I'm really glad that somebody got this opportunity. I think it's, furthermore, a very good promotion for the movie, for J.J. Abrams. Like, this could be nothing but good news for anybody all around. Be very, very sad when we know he's not. I hope that this is in time. I really do hope that this is in time, and I hope that it's enjoyable for him.
Yes.
You know?
But yes, still a good outlook on the story.
Yes.
That he was able to get that which he was really living for. But that's all the follow-ups we have for the night. Let's get to our actual stories.
Yes, let's go away, Star Wars. Sorry, I mean, I'll come back.
Now.
Just for right now. We'll come back to you in a little bit. So our first story was what? Star Trek, yes?
No, that's the last story.
It is?
Right.
Then I have no idea. Gundam?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's a little hard to see. This is the logo of the Gundam Global Challenge, and I know that the black text on top of black text isn't exactly helping, but at the very least you can see the picture of the Gundam, and you know, very red-looking planet here. So what is the Gundam Global Challenge? Why don't you help me describe what that is?
Well, the Gundam Global Challenge was basically a consortium that was set up to try and figure out to time out with the 40th anniversary of Mobile Suit Gundam over in Japan. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, there is a full-sized 1/1 scale RX-78 Gundam in Odaiba, which we actually got to see for ourselves.
It's fantastic.
It's beautiful to look at.
Yeah, there's a line that forms every morning just so that you can walk in between its legs, and then it's literally like, oh, we're done. You look up at its crotch, you take a photo, and then, like, it doesn't cost anything, but people stand in line just to walk between its legs. It's enormous, and I understand why somebody would want to say, I stood under the feet of the RX-78.
I can at least say I stood at the feet of the RX-78, and I think we posted those pictures to Twitter at least.
Yeah.
But the idea now is there's this Gundam Global Challenge, which asks people to submit their ideas to figure out, in order to get it done before the 40th anniversary or on the 40th anniversary, can you make this thing walk?
Isn't that scary? It's
no,
awesome.
It's not! That's what I want! Like, you go to the Gundam...
No, it's awesome! But also, at the same time, quite terrifying, because then, think about it. you figure out how to make the Gundam walk, then you have figured out how to make any enormo robot walk. And now we have fighting robots. And now war has changed.
Maybe. Because, you know, I was looking into other news stories having to do with robots this week. There's, the motorcycle riding robot that they've got now out of...
What is the point of that robot? Honestly, what is the point of that robot? Oh boy, you made the robot ride a motorcycle, and now what? Now I can't ride that motorcycle. What is that robot
Just get a different motorcycle.
No, what is that robot gonna do riding that motorcycle? Does it need to ride it? Does it have a job to go to?
Maybe.
Does it have a meeting?
I don't know.
Is it gonna get off the motorcycle, or is it only gonna stay on the motorcycle?
Well, I mean, obviously somebody's got to put it on the motorcycle and then take it off.
There is no point to a motorcycle riding robot. A robot that can only ride a motorcycle. There is no point.
There is a point.
No.
There's as much point to a robot riding a motorcycle as there is to a Gundam learning to walk. I'm telling you, there's a point. We haven't gotten there yet. They haven't told us what the point is yet, but it's coming.
And then there was that robot that learned how to cut like a samurai.
Yeah, that's right. Trained basically to copy the movements of this like 5th degree swordsman, the different blade styles that he was using to cut through bamboo.
Now, if you take that robot and put it on the motorcycle riding robot, then we can talk about it having a purpose, because then it'll be like an Akira where it joins a motorcycle gang and then starts cutting people.
See, if it was riding and cutting at the same time, you could use that in war.
There you go, see, but you have to put the two together, but something that is just stationary and cutting things like a samurai, something that can only ride a motorcycle,
Well, see, here's the thing I'm saying. You put those things together. What does the robot that rides a motorcycle provide? Balance. Mm-hmm. You know, studies on balance as far as it comes to robots. You teach the other, which is basically kind of like the arm from the Iron Man movies.
Yeah.
Dummy. You teach Dummy how to swing a sword. That's fine. But when you combine those two and apply it towards the Gundam, because think about this. This isn't just a slippery slope. This is a path here. This is the fun slip and slide of, yeah, we get it to walk. Then what's the next thing we equip it to do?
We give it a blazing sword.
Well, yeah, we give it a light sword, we give it working Dober cannons, we give it radar. We basically build a Gundam. We're trying to build the Gundam from the outside in.
Yeah, because the shell of the Gundam has been built. So I guess what they're asking to do is gut the Gundam and then put working mechanisms inside it. So there have already been some people who've started working.
There are currently 4 proposals. Apparently, the submission time was over this past year, and currently there are 4 proposals as to what to do with the Gundam. So Yuya Kaneko of the Nara Institute of Science and Technology proposed this one. So this is the first one. The first one is that they want to take the life-size Gundam, pair it with a life-size Zaku, and basically get them to interlock in kind of a grappling situation and get them to move like that. In essence, creating a robot that has 4 legs instead of 2.
But that's not really the point. That's not what we want.
Point. No, but that's just what was submitted.
Like, yes,
that's the first
would work,
plan.
But that's not cool.
And then there's the second plan submitted by these Chinese names are always so hard for me to pronounce. Ming Soon Chang has come up with an energy-efficient design that would create balanced legs that would allow the Gundam to walk.
Okay.
That sounds basic. That's what we were asking for. We wanted you to see if we can get it walking.
Exactly.
The third plan from Yoshimitsu Kihara, who is a robotics engineer, is working on an idea that utilizes rotating podiums and assistance devices to keep the Gundam from falling over. So basically like a rail system for it to grab onto, and some sort of a harness.
I've seen robotics do that before, but I, again, don't think that's what people are hoping for. It might be the most realistic for now.
Yes.
But I would prefer the second one so far.
And then the fourth one, which actually seems the cheapest and easiest, but kind of, you'll see what I'm talking about. The fourth plan from Professor Kei Okada is to basically create software that would allow the Gundam to basically, with what they're describing is basically a connect. Have somebody on the ground, like if you're there visiting the Gundam there at Odaiba, you wave and the Gundam mimics your movement and waves back. You rotate, the Gundam rotates. Which, it's basically just mocap.
Yeah.
And that isn't walking.
No.
No, so...
It is very easy technology, but it's not what they were asking for.
No, we want this thing to walk, and only 2 of you are even close to talking about walking on its own.
Yes.
Because that's what we want out of this thing. Currently, they're accepting another round of applications, and they wanted to decide on a basic plan by... that they're going to execute in 2017. They want this all done by 2019.
For the anniversary
Right,
of Mobile Suit Gundam, right?
Right, so that gives them a little over a year to try and figure out, okay, who else is going to submit? What other ideas can we see? How can we actually get this done? Because, I'll say from personal experience, having been there and stood at the feet of this thing, you look at it, and even when they play little bits of the BGM from Mobile Suit Gundam, even if you're not the biggest fan of Gundam, you watch it, and you're kind of overwhelmed with, like, it's there, and it's real, and it's huge, and it's supposed to be that huge, and there should be somebody inside it, and it should be walking. Like, that's a logical thought process looking at it.
And if you've ever played, like, you at least sat inside and played a round of the Mobile Suit Pod
Yes,
game,
I did.
Which is the most realistic, most screen-accurate possible version of being able to pilot an actual Gundam. And the sensation is, if you've never done it, is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
you
then,
get a visceral rush. They're having the controls not too dissimilar from what they show in the cockpit of, say, 8th MS Team. You know, you've got one stick up and one stick to the side, and you're using the two in tandem to make this mobile suit move.
And 2 foot pedals.
Yes.
And extra buttons on both of these sticks. So, like, you imagine, one day, could we perhaps combine these technologies and then make that thing walk while being in a cockpit?
See, that's the dream right now, because we were even talking about this while we're still waiting for that USA Japan robot challenge.
Fight. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're heading in that direction, it would seem. The fandom of Mobile Suit Gundam wants this thing to take place, but practically other people who are just interested in robotics are basically trying to get there too.
In their own way, it's not necessarily
way.
Making it a two-legged, humanoid-looking thing, but we want it. I think we all want
because the
giant
idea
robots.
is we have mech warrior-looking robots, but nobody wants mech warrior-looking robots initially. You want something that's more humanoid and maybe a little white with, you know, a blue and red paint job and, you know, has a giant laser cannon and the Gundam hammer and basically Amuro's piloting it.
Or I'm piloting it. That would be preferable.
I don't know about that. Amuro's got to pilot
No, I
first.
mean, we
I'm saying I will legally change my name to Amuro Ray so I can pilot the Gundam.
So, see? You always fantasize it's gonna be yourself piloting it.
Basically, yes.
That's basically what we're talking about here.
I want to ride the Gundam.
So the 40th anniversary of Mobile Suit Gundam is coming up in 2018, yes? Yes, because
Right.
it came out in 1978. So, that's what they're aiming for. Hopefully, in just a couple more years, we're going to be seeing walking, moving RX-78 Gundam.
Here's hoping.
I really hope so.
Yes.
That would be so cool.
Alright, so let's move on to our second story, Halloween.
Halloween! Like what you're looking at right now.
Wait, there's not quite Justice League.
Oh. Well, what you're looking at right now are a bunch of costumed people in Shibuya, Tokyo. Really, this is all looking like DC folks. In fact, it's
Just
all...
DC folks, but this is not everybody.
No,
by no means.
By no means is this everyone, but, like, I like the one dude here who's Man of Steel Superman.
Yeah.
Like, actually, he's got a pretty decent-looking suit. And then you see a bunch of itty-bitty Superman and Batman, and little Catwoman, and over here is little Flash. One little Flash.
And then one
And
Riddler, and then
Riddler.
one
I don't know who
Heath
this
Ledger
is.
Joker.
Oh, this is part of his gang.
No, that's Heath Ledger's Joker from the beginning of The Dark Knight.
But
has
he
the
was wearing the mask.
That specific mask is the
Yeah,
Joker.
yeah, okay. So, yes, this was Halloween. This was Halloween.
This is Halloween.
Can we not do that?
Okay, sorry.
No. So Halloween was way bigger than I think even Tokyo could have imagined it was going to be.
Let's put this into context here. As far as holidays are concerned over in Japan, a lot of holidays, as we know them here in the States, in America, kind of get exported over there. Like, they just barely got our giant version of Valentine's Day, and for their commerce, it boosted commerce.
Well,
it's a big commercial holiday.
They've been doing Valentine's Day, but it was a lot of chocolates and stuff. And the concept was always women will always give it to the men, and that still is kind of a big deal.
Well,
but at the same time, now it is becoming further commercialized and further commercialized and further commercialized, and now people just give chocolate to anybody and everybody all the friggin' time. But Halloween has been kind of sort of a thing in Japan for a while.
Until this year, where
this year it's like
exploded.
It's a huge boom. When we were out there, they were already prepping for Halloween, and it was the middle of September.
And it was noticeable, not too dissimilar from what you would see here, walking through a mall, and you're like, oh yeah, there's orange and black decorations, and there's pumpkins over there, and witch hats, like, huh.
We were seeing, like, Halloween-themed donuts already at Mr. Donut.
Yeah.
Or we'd go into Don Quixote, and they had this big old Halloween section where they're playing Halloween.
Which is a pretty sweet section when you think about it.
Halloween music was playing, and I was like, oh my god, guys!
Halloween music in English.
In English.
That was weird. Like,
well, it is kind of our holiday, if I'm
Well, yeah, but it's like there was a Halloween song that I've never heard before.
Yeah. It seemed like they wrote it specifically for Don Quixote, though. I couldn't tell.
Good for them.
But in any case, so it's just really interesting how we watch it morph in other locations of the world. So here's what was up with specifically the corner of Shibuya. Now, Shibuya is probably the busiest sub-city in Tokyo, and when you figure that Tokyo is the busiest, most populated city on Earth, that's friggin' busy.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
There was footage from ABC News showing the crosswalk on Halloween night.
Hachiko Crossing, which is in Shibuya, right outside of Hachiko Station, is the world's busiest intersection. You've seen it in, I'm sure, lots of movies. Lost in Translation, for example. There's a Starbucks that you actually look out of to look down onto this crosswalk. And so what they're reporting is that it was so busy in Shibuya that you could barely even friggin' stand in line for a train ticket to get in or out of Shibuya. Because it's so busy.
Shibuya basically was the focal point for everybody who wanted to go out and either party, be seen, wear their costumes. Everybody went out to Shibuya and basically partied it up and trashed the place, which is very weird when you consider how focused they are on cleanliness and being, very proper.
In fact, I want to show you guys, like, this is kind of the garbage situation that you're looking at.
That looks like American garbage.
I know, right? And,
like, I'm gonna take the hit for that, saying, hey, that looks like that should have been ours.
The person who made this tweet with this photo even says something along the lines of, do we really need Halloween if we're going to do this to our city?
Yes, we shouldn't have Halloween if it messes up our city like this.
Yeah.
Because, admittedly, people kind of let it go to their heads. Fiscally speaking, it brought in projected just under $1 billion US for all the stuff they bought as far as costumes, decorations, candy. That's like America numbers. That's a huge influx of money going into the system over there just for one holiday.
It almost sounds like, I think it's the way any human being would act when they're introduced to something really super special awesome for the first time. Take, for example, just, going to an anime con, right? It's your first time there, and you're like, oh my god, everything is awesome! And you run around like a dumbass, you're all hyped up on, Pocky and Ramune, and you're just like, I'm gonna hug everybody, and I'm just gonna leave all my crap everywhere, and you literally...
You lose your stuff.
You lose your crap. You lose your dang mind.
Your dang mind.
So, human beings do this, and I think it just got so big this year that everybody lost their crap, and
they lost their crap, and there it is. It's right there on the ground. There's their crap. Hopefully none of it was literal crap. But, they overwhelmed the city, or rather the section of Shibuya, leaving trash for people to clean up the next day. A lot of people did, thankfully, come back. Some people still in costume to clean up the mess. But it's going to be interesting to see just where they go from here. Because, that we had heard reports of, a lot of places aren't really going to allow for, costuming and things like that. But I was remembering back, because we had also gone to visit, Akihabara, which is like the nerd hub there in Japan. And they've, over the years, cracked down on how much cosplay you can do in the streets there.
Well, it's perhaps there was a really big deal, horrible thing that happened a few years back, where on a Sunday afternoon, where they typically close off the street so that people can just walk around in the middle of the street, and then people would dance around in costumes or whatever. Then a jerk in a van decided to drive down the street, and he hit some people and he killed some people.
Yeah.
And only within recent years have they finally started to allow the street to be closed off again so that you can walk down the middle of it on a Sunday afternoon and evening, but it's just not the same. There's not as much costuming and happy dancing happening in the middle of the street anymore.
So here's what I'm thinking, though. When they're introduced to the concept of what Halloween is, and they're a very reserved culture, some would even argue repressed, when you give them this opportunity of, hey, there's one day out of the year, this is how we practice it over here, you guys do it if you want, but there's one day out of the year where you don't have to be at a convention to wear a costume.
Yeah.
There's one day out of the year where you don't have to watch Rick to Read and you just eat sugary stuff. There's one day out of the year where it doesn't matter who you are because you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You don't get to be yourself, you get to be somebody else completely. That concept could blow people's minds, and they would feed into it so hard that, sure enough, something like this happens. The psychology of it, it's interesting to see.
Well, apparently there was also, it was a big disruption. I believe that news article discusses police disruption. They tried to make the streets orderly, but they had to arrest a dude or two for hassling the cops because he didn't want to listen to what the cops had to say. And that's really pretty out of character for Japan.
Yeah, very much so. And you look at it, and that totally buys into the idea of,
but they're just people,
First time experience, the first time you give your kid a full plastic tube of pixie stick. You know what's going to happen when you give it to the kid, but you do it anyway, and you watch the kid go bouncing off the walls like, woo, I'm He-Man, woo, 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 and he's bouncing off the walls like, all right, woo, shh. And he's hyped up on sugar and freedom.
And then he's going to crash out at
And then he's going to crash
PM.
out. And then he's going to get home to his little apartment. And then he's going to sleep like a baby because, he's tuckered out from a sugar high.
Yes.
And that's really the country of Japan after experiencing Halloween for the first time this hard, this big. But really the thing I want to bring up is what's it going to be like next year?
Yeah, but I imagine there's going to be new rules to partying hard. I imagine it'll just be policed harder. Maybe they will better rope off the intersection. Maybe better have traffic cops to kind of help create order out of chaos in the middle of Hachiko Crossing. I imagine these are some steps that they would take.
Because it's the question of will they party hard and then pull back like, okay, I got it out of my system, I'm good, or will they be addicted to, hey, I did this last year, I'm gonna do it again.
Next year's gonna be even more awesome. How can we make it more awesome than it was last year? I think everybody wants to top what they did the previous year.
Yeah.
Everyone always wants to do that.
And next year will be even more better.
Even more better. I think it's despite the fact that culturally Japan doesn't want to seem disorderly, at the same time, we're all human. Come on. You get a taste of this and it's like, oh, don't you want more? Don't you want to do better than you did last year? Don't you want to party harder?
Would you like to see something strange and mystical?
No, don't make me do the monologue.
Okay, I won't make you do the monologue.
Okay. Later.
So, our eyes look forward to next October 31st just to see how hard they party then.
Exactly, yes.
I want to see it. I kind of want to see how they're going to do it.
Alright. Until then, we're going to talk about some Star Trek for a second.
Yes.
Star?
Trek.
Trek.
Okay, there it is.
That's Star Trek.
So Star Trek, of course, right now I believe they're still filming for this next installment, Star Trek Beyond, with the current cast with Zachary Quinto, Chris Pine, Idris Elba, to be released in theaters as soon as they're done with it. But over on the TV end, where Star Trek first got its start, it looks like we're gonna get another installment. Sort of.
Well, interestingly enough, because we remember, I think it was earlier this year, we talked about that fan group who did...
Star Trek Renegades.
Yeah, Star Trek Renegades. I don't suppose this has any attachment to what they pitched.
This has no attachment to Renegades. Which, actually, Renegades you can watch now completely on YouTube. They put the whole thing
wonderful.
on YouTube.
I actually did not know that.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to check that out later. But anyway, let's go ahead and discuss this, because I'm kind of like, yay! Oh, yay! Oh. Because the idea of a new Star Trek TV series is like, oh, wonderful, Star Trek as a television franchise isn't dead yet then. That's
right.
Great.
Because if you just read the first sentence of the article, CBS Television is looking to launch a new Star Trek TV series in January 2017. Yes!
Yeah, okay.
We're all for that. All right, live long and prosper. Let's do this. But then you read a little further, and it's like, well, it's actually going to be kind of a subscription-on-demand sort of thing.
And not really on TV, which makes it actually not a TV series, right?
It's not exactly... Well, it's a little hard to define in the current day right now when we're dealing with, Netflix and Hulu and things of that nature, where we're leaning towards streaming more than people actually subscribing to, television providers.
So I have to pay $6 to do this through CBS's, CBS All Access.
Yes.
And I'm sure that means I would also have access to other CBS shows. However, what the hell other CBS shows do I even remotely care about?
Supergirl?
Maybe if you would watch it more than me.
Yeah. I need to catch up on this week's episode.
I would poke around at it, but I'm not super into
I'm just saying I'm
Supergirl.
not in that big of a hurry to watch The Big Bang Theory at all.
No.
No, I'm really just in it for Star Trek.
Exactly, and I'd be paying $6, I guess monthly, for it, and that would mean 4 episodes so I'm paying... And how long is this gonna last? Let's say it's a 26 episode run or something like that.
For a season, yeah.
7 weeks? What? No, 7 months. 7 months times 6.
32.
42.
No, yeah, 42 is right.
42. I don't want to spend $42 to watch a season of Star Trek.
But if history has taught us anything, if we don't support this thing, it might not make it.
Well, that's a very literal Star Trek historical thing, that is to be sure. When we speak of the initial inception of Star Trek, it was only the fandom that kept it alive in reruns, in syndication. So, but I don't want to spend money!
Well, then you're not gonna keep your Star Trek! That's just the way it works. You gotta pay to play.
This is crap, and CBS knows it's crap. Give me a break.
Well, think about it.
But they're thinking, oh, we're so freaking smart because Star Trek fans understand the importance of if we don't support this thing, it might not make it. So they're gonna do it. They're doing it because they know we'll do it.
Yes.
But that's bullshit.
No, that's business because a lot of somebodies are going to pay that money. There are people specifically with bank accounts in Klingon that are ready to put the money down to support this thing. Because, yeah, history has taught them enough times. If you don't support this thing, it might not make it. You could end up like the original series. Or, if you're supporting the wrong thing, you could end up with Enterprise. You gotta be careful.
Enterprise got canceled anyway, too.
Yeah, but, across the board it wasn't that great compared to the others.
That's what I'm saying. It got canceled.
I'm just saying.
So it wasn't that great.
You can't just take anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the thing CBS has to be aware of, too. They can't just take anything and put it out there. We live in a very conscientious culture now. A lot of the ideas that Star Trek first pioneered, like equality in space. Jim had a very diverse crew there on that Enterprise. Mm-hmm. People of all walks of life, different genders, races, colors even. And you look at it, and it's like, that was inspiring. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those ideas inspired other people. Star Trek inspired more. I always say this: Star Trek inspired more socially, Star Wars inspired more creatively. Mm-hmm. But those two shows, or really those two franchises, I should say, spawned a lot of ideas and thought that people wanted to emulate, wanted to make reality. A lot of the technology we have now, our smartphones, touch screens, we owe that to just the ideas coming out of Star Trek.
Yeah, fantasy that we wanted so badly to exist, we just made it exist. So that's why I do want to watch this. No matter what it is, no matter where it goes, I do want to watch it. Apparently it will end up on television in international areas that we do not live in, because we live here. So why do they get to see it on TV and America does not get to see it on TV? Why is that?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't. I mean, I assume that they think that the American audience is going to already go straight for streaming.
That could be. I mean, I stream a lot of stuff, but that's because I don't have normal TV. But we pick up CBS just fine.
No, we pick up CBS because we got an antenna, an over-the-air antenna. And most people can get CBS using an over-the-air antenna. It's one of your basic channels. But you think about it, yeah, of course they know that people are going to want to pitch into this thing because they know the history.
Yes.
Knowing that, does that make them shrewd businessmen or does it make them smart businessmen?
Can't it be a combination of both?
See, that's actually what I'm getting at. Because it's a little of both.
Because it is smart, but it's like douchey smart, and it's something else somebody said just a little bit ago, hating that type of business logic. Who's this? I wish I knew how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, STSP8. I'm sure there's a better way to pronounce that. It's effectively holding the show hostage. I think that's an interesting way of phrasing it.
You could phrase it that way, yeah, because, yeah, in that mindset, you know you're not going to get this anywhere else. You have to pay. Mm-hmm. And, when you're holding it over, your audience's head like that, yeah, there can be some backlash. There can be some very bad backlash. So they have to be smart about this. Know what your fans are capable of beyond just being sources of disposable income for your project.
Yes.
Because even going back to Renegades, if they don't get the product they want, they will go out and make it. This isn't the 1960s anymore. We can do that now.
Well, hell, I think Star Trek is perhaps one of the first fandoms that really created the idea of the fanfic. Like, Star Trek fanzines were some of the first places where people started submitting their own stories, and the idea of the Gary Stew popped up in Star Trek fanzines. So yeah, Star Trek fans will write whatever they want to create something better if they think that what you've given them is crap. It's gonna happen.
Because now, again, we live in a world where if somebody doesn't like anything, they're gonna let you know real fast. Because there's one thing we have now that the original fans of the original series didn't have, and it's called Twitter.
Yeah.
And if this thing sucks, it's gonna get out there very fast. If this show is being held hostage and it's not worth the price of hostaging...
Not worth the price of $6 a month?
Then you're gonna, people are gonna find out, and they're gonna let you know, hey, I'm not willing to pay $6. I'll be willing to pay $3? Maybe?
Yeah.
Or you could just, I don't know, put it on TV, where it belongs.
Where it should have been... all the time, always, where it started?
Well, because,
that would be great.
I get the idea of thinking, oh, I'm getting ahead of the game and I'm just going to put it streaming and leave it dedicated streaming. But you think about all the stuff we watch now on Hulu, on Netflix, it's on TV, and then it makes its way to streaming.
I'd be satisfied with that.
Like, we're already doing that. Why shoot yourself in the foot? Why give yourself one less outlet?
Because they know Star Trek fanatics will pay it! And it's mean. It's very mean.
Well, then why not try to create more? Why not get, I don't know, new fans? Don't just bank on the goodwill of the fans that you know are out there and have their money at the ready.
That's true. That's a good point.
Because that's the thing with any show that you create, especially if it's something like this that's a reboot of some kind of an already existing property, you have to find a way to get new people in. Otherwise, you're going to be railroaded by the old fans.
Exactly.
You want new people to come in and discover this thing, and if you keep to the core of what makes Star Trek, this idea of wonderment of, you know what, let's find out what's out there, let's talk to these people, let's not break, the why can't I remember the rule? don't make contact with. I'm
The
blanking.
Prime Directive?
The Prime Directive, yes. Yeah, let's see them use the Prime Directive. Let's see how they play that out in different scenarios again. Let's see that. And let's see how they do it in a new way that's interesting but still relevant. Because there's a lot of stuff they can do with it. And with as much fanfic is out there, as much fan movie is out there, they've actually got the bar set high for them. Mm-hmm. That's what they've got to realize here.
But Star Trek fans, they know can bring in money. I bring that up again. I know we've kind of gone in this loop. But you know the Star Trek Online... I've played it in front of you a couple of times. Right now, it's free to play. It did not used to be free to play. You did used to have to pay a monthly subscription, and I remember when pre-orders were up for the game, oh my god, this must be so embarrassing for some people, but some people paid a lot of money, like a couple $100 a lot of money, for the unlimited lifetime subscription pass to a game that would later go on to be free to play, and it's just I can't help but facepalm over it. Like, I really hope
it's not their fault.
I don't know what their reward is for those people now. Surely they're still compensating those people in some way that is not on the free to play tier. But at the same time, the Star Trek fans, they paid for it because they love Star Trek that hard. People will do it. So no matter what, this is gonna exist, and people are going to pay for it. Maybe it won't be me, or maybe it will. I don't know. We'll find out later.
Because the thing about it is, CBS, you got to be very smart about this, and I know I say that over and over again. But you know, like somebody bringing up here in the chat as well. You see what happened to Gem and the Holograms?
Yeah.
You see what happens when you take something people really love for what it was, and then you completely remove what made it lovable? Mm-hmm. Don't do that with Star Trek. People really love Star Trek. You guys must know that, otherwise you wouldn't be thinking about doing this. Just understand, there's some very angry people out there. They're angry preemptively for what you guys may or may not do to their beloved franchise. Not even characters you haven't created yet. They're ready to get attached to those characters. They're people at the ready to start doing slash fics and whatnot left and right. And they're waiting to give you their money. But if you F them over... just, you really don't want to know.
They will have your heads taken off with a batleth.
Yes.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
A set to this music.
Rip my shirt.
Yeah, shirt rippings. Alright.
Oh, I'm doing the Star Wars story, I'm in a red shirt.
Star Trek story, Josh.
Oh, Star Trek story, and I'm in a red...
And that's all the time we have for Beyond the Black Rims, everybody. I'm Mars Girl, and...
and I'm back.
And you're just bleeding out from the neck. In any case, yes, we are done with the main part of the show for this evening.
Hell hath no fury like a fan scorned.
Exactly.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
But we are going to move on to the Q&A section for those of you who are here with us live. And if you're not here with us live, it's great for you to be here with us live every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Central Time. So we'll be back here this next Thursday. And you guys can also join us in the Q&A and talk with all the other fans over here on the chat on the other side somewhere over there, I guess, is where they put it on YouTube these days. And if you're watching it later on YouTube, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you at another point, but you can always talk to us on Twitter.
Yes, you can always talk to us during the week, send us ideas, just shoot the breeze with us. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
And that having been said, that's been this week's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We will see you guys next week.
Good night.